Despite the fact that Zinedine Zidane is back at the club, it seems to be a case of out with the old and in with the new for Real Madrid. They're looking to bring in a brand new era of success. So here are 5 players who, in my opinion, should be leaving the club. First off, and it's Luka Modric. Now, he's been a brilliant servant to the club, despite the fact that when he joined, he was voted La Liga's worst signing of the season. Since then, he's gone on to be a massive part of their success, especially in the Champions League. His midfield trio of him, Toni Kroos and Casemiro has been unbelievable, and Modric will always be remembered as the guy who managed to wrestle the Ballon d'Or out of Messi and Ronaldo's hands. But his advancing years into the mid-30s have maybe seen him not in the best of form. In fact, since winning the Ballon d'Or, he's actually gone downhill quite a little bit. It's clear that Real Madrid have eyes on the future, and they've got Fede Valverde coming through as well. Kroos isn't actually that old just yet, and Casemiro is still at his very, very best. What this means is that Modric should probably leave the club before he just wastes away sitting on the bench. There's still a big money move in it for him. I mean, China or the MLS will pay loads of money, and even if he wants to stay in Europe, I'm sure there are loads of clubs that will have him despite his years. Anyway, I think that's going to be a better option than, as I mentioned, rotting away at Real Madrid. Second up, and talking of players who are going to rot away, Gareth Bale. Honestly, there's so much that he could do, so much potential, but he needs to go out and prove it. He does not want to be the guy who's remembered for just taking money, being injured and spending all his time on the golf course. We saw it at Spurs, we saw it in the first few years of Real, what an attacking threat he can be. So why not leave the club now? And I'm not talking about collecting a big payday in China. I'm talking about going back maybe to Spurs or back to the Premier League to prove that he is still a top class player. At least that will banish all the thoughts that people in the media have had for him in the last few years and just prove that, well, he didn't really waste his career towards the end and he proved himself to be a top player. He does it for Wales whenever they need him, so why not do it at club level as well? Of course, he will have to drop his wage demands a little bit, but we can't have everything, can we? Next up, and I'm sure plenty of you Madristas out there will probably disagree with me, but it's Marcelo. Now, don't get me wrong, before you start firing shots at me, I think Marcelo's brilliant. He's been probably the best left back in the last decade. An incredible player, both defensively and especially offensively. In fact, his partnership both on and off the field with Cristiano Ronaldo was just a joy to behold. The amount of times he assisted him was just utterly ridiculous. Having said that, it's no secret that Real Madrid are moving towards the future. Ferland Mendy's been brought in and since coming back from injury has definitely replaced Marcelo in the starting lineup. And this is a Marcelo who was an absolute favourite under Zinedine Zidane. And when Zidane came back to the club, Marcelo came back to the first team. Despite this, and as I mentioned before with Gareth Bale, he's only 30, maybe 31. Marcelo's definitely got another big move in him. When Cristiano Ronaldo went to Juventus, there was talk of Marcelo also joining him at Juventus. Why not? He's still got plenty to offer going forward. He could still be a massive hit for a European club, and I'd like to see that for him, rather than sort of, I don't know, maybe moving away out of the spotlight or even just sitting on the bench at Real, much like with Luka Modric. Number 4 on this list, and I'm sorry to say to leave the absolute dream move after just a year, but Luka Jovic has got to go. First off, there's the price tag. 60 million Real Madrid spent on him. And next up, there's a 300k a week that they pay for Luka Jovic, and he's just really not looking up to it. I very rarely see a player who looks like a rabbit caught in the headlights. It may be that after doing so well at Frankfurt last season, this move just came a little bit too early. Maybe it was a bit too much of a big step, going from Frankfurt in the Europa League to basically carrying the hopes of Real Madrid up front when Karim Benzema isn't doing the business. Of course, the one thing that Luka Jovic does have on his side is age. Being in his early 20s, it basically means that he could go away, find his love of football again, find all the goals that he was scoring at Frankfurt, go and play for a few years, maybe picking up the odd trophy here and there before getting a massive move. In fact, any sort of sane person would have suggested that to him before he moved to Real Madrid, but who are we kidding? If you're like a 21-year-old football player, Real Madrid come in, say you get to play for Real, here's 300 grand a week, come and live with us in Madrid. Yeah, I'm pretty sure most people would take it. Again, not begging him for it, but he definitely needs to leave. As most other strikers have found out, there is just no budging Karim Benzema out of the first team. No matter how many young Brazilian attackers they sign, he just will not leave. And fair play to Benzema, but he's not the 5th person on this list who I think should leave. No, that is down to James Rodriguez. I'm still of the opinion that he got this move to Real Madrid off the back of a fantastic World Cup back in 2014, and he deserved it. He was brilliant in that tournament. He'd been playing some really good football, but I'm not so sure this year later that he's really up to it. I mean, he had a 2-year loan at Bayern Munich, at the end of which they didn't even want to sign him permanently. There's been questions about his fitness, his form, and to be honest, his dedication to the game. He just can't seem to catch a break. Even when he does get into the Real Madrid team, he's not quite producing the results they would have expected from someone who, at the time, I believe they spent almost 65 million euros on him. Anyway, along while James Rodriguez was doing well for Real Madrid at the start, then falling out of favour going to Bayern, and then coming back and doing nothing, Isco has also been going up and down, but he seems to be more of a saviour for Real Madrid, certainly in the second half of this season, than James ever will be. In my opinion, the Colombian should just cut his losses now and maybe move to another club. So there you have it, 5 players who should be leaving Real Madrid in the next transfer window whenever that happens. Of course, you're completely free to disagree or agree with me, but let me know in the comments section down below. Whilst you're there, you can smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.